Have you ever wondered what it would be like if Einstein, Steve Jobs, and your child's brain had a party? Welcome to the Neuroquirky Nexus, where we celebrate the extraordinary minds of our neurodiverse children. Welcome to you amazing parents and caregivers to this podcast. Here we are going to navigate the colorful world of neurodiversity, and we're going to explore holistic, out-of-the-box solutions for children and teens with ADHD, stress, anxiety, and other neuroquirks. Each week we'll dive into practical, brain-based techniques and quirky strategies to help your child thrive. I'm Lori Bloyer, a former veteran teacher turned holistic neurogrowth, learning, and life success coach. As a parent of a neurodiverse child myself, I've spent the last 20 years researching, experimenting, and developing unconventional approaches to support these unique minds. I myself have ADHD diagnosed later in life, and thank goodness, now I understand some of my neuroquirks, and I am going to give you, from my years of teaching in the classroom, my son and myself, several tips, tricks, strategies to help you and your child thrive and create peace at home and joy in your life. So, are you ready? Let's get quirky. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Neuroquirky Nexus. So we talked about holidays last time, and now you're home with your kiddo for lots of days. And I really just wanted to talk about strength-based parenting and talking about how labels can be reimagined. We've talked about this a little bit in other ways, but now I want to talk about how strengths-based parenting and what you can do at home to really create a nice home environment now that your child is around a little bit more, and incorporating what we talked about for the holidays last time, but using it now to take this time with your child at home to really create a home environment that focuses on strengths. So strength-based parenting. So as always, welcome parents, caregivers, grandparents, anyone listening. So happy to have you here in this Neuroquirky Nexus. I can't wait to get started and give you some tips, tricks, and strategies that are really going to help you create peace at home, calm at home, and help you see your child in hopefully a new way, or help you come up with strategies as a parent in a new way. So you ready? Let's get started and let's get quirky. All right, let me tell you about Sarah and her son, Max. Max was always on the move, constantly chattering, full of energy, and Sarah described him as a whirlwind in human form. She loved him dearly, but often found herself frustrated and exhausted, especially when teachers kept labeling Max as disruptive or unmanageable. She started feeling like the world only saw what Max couldn't do, not what he could. One day, Sarah decided that enough was enough. She began looking for ways to celebrate Max's energy instead of trying to contain it. And that's where everything started to change. Max is now thriving in sports, where his endless energy makes him a natural leader. Sarah, she's become his biggest cheerleader. And what changed? Sarah's mindset. She learned to reframe Max's challenges into strengths. Does that story sound familiar? Right? We've talked about this before with me and my son. Maybe you felt that same frustration, though, hearing labels like distracted, impulsive, or too hyper thrown at your child. It's tough, isn't it? Right? But there's one thing. Every single one of those labels can be flipped into strength. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about why shifting your perspective from deficits to strengths isn't just a nice idea, It's really a game changer for your child's self-esteem, your relationship, and even your own peace of mind as a parent. So by the end of this episode, you should have practical tools to spot and celebrate your child's unique superpowers. Plus, I'm going to give you some simple strategies to build routines and conversations that focus on what's amazing about them. Spoiler alert, once you start seeing their strengths, you might just realize how much you've been underestimating their potential. And you might just have peace at home and joy again. All right, so grab a cup of coffee, take a deep breath. Let's talk about why your child isn't broken, why they don't need fixing, and why strength-based parenting could be the key to unlocking the best version of you and your child. Focusing on a child's deficits often leads to frustration, low self-esteem, and strained relationships. In contrast, strength-based parenting fosters confidence and builds resilience. So it's really important. This matters so much. Children with ADHD already face criticism from peers, teachers, and even themselves. Parents have the unique opportunity to create a safe space where their child's abilities are celebrated. Research even shows that children who grow up in environments emphasizing strengths over weaknesses are more likely to develop positive self-identity and emotional resilience. There's lots of research that demonstrates how focusing on strengths leads to greater life satisfaction and mental well-being. Meanwhile, this deficit model, right, talking about their limitations, focusing on what children cannot do, or just staying with the label, reinforces those negative cycles and can result in lower self-esteem in the child, increased parent-child conflict, some of us might know that well, and a lack of appreciation for your child's unique abilities. So strengths are just nice to have, and strength-based parenting isn't just nice to have. It's about viewing opportunities. And the strengths-based download I have is going to give lots of examples, and we'll talk about that. All right, let's even add to that. Data supports strengths-based parenting. Studies have shown that students who feel their strengths are recognized are more engaged in school and achieve higher academic outcomes. Children raised in homes where strengths are emphasized report stronger family bonds and higher emotional intelligence. And we know there's several amazing innovators who have ADHD as well as other neurodiversities that have helped shape our world in amazing ways. So, for example, you could compare ADHD to a Ferrari engine with bicycle brakes. It's not about slowing down the engine, but upgrading the brakes to match its power. The parent's role is to nurture and guide their child's strengths, not dampen them. We will be talking about these transformations, but some examples of what I'm talking about here is that a child labeled as too talkative was constantly scolded. And after parents reframed this talkativeness as excellent communication skills and encouraged participation in debate club, where the child thrived, or newscasting, or any social activities that involve talkativeness could be a wonderful asset. Another example could be that a child would be labeled as easily distracted, and they struggle to complete tasks. But if the parents look at it and reframe it as deep curiosity and provide opportunities for exploration or exploratory learning, that could lead to success in STEAM or STEM activities. I know I was definitely successful once I got my hands on something that I could explore lots of different areas. And I love making and hands-on, and that my distractedness really was my curiosity for a lot of different things. So I hope that helps, but I want to now dive into something fun. Let's talk about superpowers. superpowers. Okay, no capes or secret identities required. I promise. Let's just be real though. When you hear terms like impulsive or distracted, it doesn't exactly scream superhero, does it? But what if I told you those words are just the start of the story? So here's an example. Impulsivity. Sure, it can be a challenge, but it also means your child is bold, spontaneous, and ready to take action. That's not a flaw, it's a spark. Or take distractibility. It's often just another way of saying your child is deeply curious and notices things others miss. Here's your challenge. Grab a piece of paper, write down 3 of your child's most challenging behaviors. Now, next to each one, jot down how that behavior could actually be a strength. Do you need some help? Here's one of mine. My kid gets loud, like really loud, but that's just their enthusiasm bursting through the seams. And honestly, it's infectious when channeled the right way. So try this with your own list. You'll be amazed at how much of a superhero your child really is. And I would love to hear your list. In fact, I think I'm going to do a workshop on this topic because I love it. And probably my Monday Live on this topic. So you'll see a lot more about reframing and superpowers because, as I've said with my own son, once we realize that the strength lies in superpowers, in what your amazing brain can do, it changed our whole dynamic as a mother-son. It changed the way we looked at his brain. It just, the world opened up. So I can't wait for that for yourself. So I also want to talk about building daily routines around these strengths, right? So as I said, we're at home more now that the holidays are here. So how can we build routines around those strengths? Let's talk about something every parent can relate to, the daily grind, right? Oh, those mornings, yeah. And homework and bedtime, those challenges. Does it sound familiar, right? That's the time where we dread. They're not exactly our favorite times of day, right? But here's a little secret. You can use your child's strengths to make routines smoother and even, dare I say, enjoyable, or at least more peaceful. For example, if your child has endless energy, build movement breaks before tasks like homework. A quick 5-minute dance party or a run around the yard can make all the difference. Got a kid who loves visual things? Create a colorful schedule with pictures instead of just words. Or even lights. I've seen some really clever light up schedules that a child can interact with. There's many options for interactivities too to make these schedules more fun, more gamified. And I can just share a quick story about that. One mom I worked with said that her mornings were like total chaos because her son, who thrives on creativity, kept getting distracted. Or we could say the other way, her kid that she would call distracted, he's really a creative kid. So instead of forcing him into a rigid routine, they made a morning checklist art board together. It was fun, visual, and totally aligned with his love for design. His mornings, their mornings, were transformed. So you could try it out. You could try to think of one part of your day or your routine that you could tweak to highlight your child's strengths instead of fighting their challenges. And now a word from our sponsor. Are you a parent struggling with defiant behavior in a child with ADHD? It can be overwhelming, but there's help. Download our free guide, 10 Essential Strategies for Managing Defiant Kids with ADHD. Inside, you'll find proven techniques to reduce power struggles, build cooperation, and create a calmer home. Ready to make a real change? Get your own copy now and start transforming challenges into opportunities for growth. Download it today at nexus-mastery.com /guidelines. That's nexus-mastery.com/guidelines. The link is also in the show notes. Thank you. Let's get you back to your episode. All right. Let's talk about communication now and positive communication strategies. So you've probably heard this one before, but I'm going to say it anyways. And you've heard this in some of my episodes before, even my podcast episodes. Words matter a lot. The way we talk to our kids shapes how they see themselves. So let's talk about swapping out the critical language for something that lifts them up. For example, instead of saying, "Why can't you ever sit still?" try something like, "I can see you have a lot of energy today. Let's find a fun way to use it before we do your homework." Or instead of, "You're just so messy," you could say, "I love how creative you get when you're working on a project. Let's figure out an easy way to tidy up afterward." So here's a tip I love, the 5-to-1 rule. For every piece of corrective feedback, really aim to give 5 positive comments. It sounds like a lot, but even small things like, "Hey, I love how you shared that toy with your sibling," count, right? They need to hear the more positive than negative, because especially children with ADHD are getting more negative than positive, and they start to feel like, "I'm dumb, I'm stupid, I can't do this, I'm always a failure." And we don't want that. That's why this whole reframing is so important. And I'm feeling so pulled to help parents and teachers and children reframe the way they think about themselves. Okay, I'm going to actually do a little call to action here. I want to challenge you guys with a 7-day strength-based challenge, which I'll also be posting on Facebook and Instagram and in my Facebook group. So hopefully you'll find it somewhere if you can't write it down if you're driving. But here's what I want you to do in this 7-day strength-based challenge. Day 1, I want you to write down 3 strengths you see in your child. Post one on your fridge to remind your family, or somewhere in your home to remind them of these strengths. Day 2, replace one critical comment with a reframe and note your child's reaction. How are they going to react? Day 3, create a small celebration around a strength and highlight it during dinner. Day 4, redesign one aspect of your child's routine to play to their strengths. Day 5, observe and write down how your child uses strength in daily life. Day 6, share a positive moment with your child, focusing on their effort or growth. And day 7, reflect on how this process has shifted your perspective. So as we said at the beginning of the episode, a lot of this is your mindset as an adult and helping others even in your family reframe and perhaps change their mindset. So I hope that 7-day challenge will help you. I can't wait to hear your results. You can make this a fun family project by creating words that uplift chart. Every time someone uses a positive reframe, add it to the chart. By the end of the week, you'll be amazed at how much more encouragement is floating around your house. As always, we like to wrap up with fun activities, right? Something fun to do to strengthen the parent-child connection. So how about something you can do as a family to put all of this into practice? First, you could do a strength spotting scavenger hunt. This is such a hit with kids. You could even do it with escape rooms or geocaching, obstacle courses. You could really do a lot of strength building in those thinking activities as well. Such a hit. So here's how it works. You could spend a day looking for ways each family member uses their unique strengths. Did your child show off their curiosity by asking a zillion questions? Write that down. Did they demonstrate their boldness by trying something new? Well, you could put that on the list too. And another idea you could do is create a vision board together. Grab some magazines, scissors, glue, make a collage of your child's dreams, goals, and strengths. It's a great way to show them you're paying attention to what makes them amazing. And one of my favorites is a jar, a strength jar. So every time you notice someone in your family using a strength, write it on a little slip of paper, drop it into the jar, and by the end of the week, sit down together and read them out loud. It's a simple but powerful way to celebrate each other and, of course, each other's strengths. I hope that is a fun little activity where you can start looking for your child's superpowers, writing them down, talking about them. Share them with us at the hashtag NeuroQuirkyNexus. And don't forget to check out the free downloadable strengths chart linked in the show notes. It's packed with ideas to help you identify and celebrate your child's unique abilities. Next time, we're going to be talking about teachers, right? Flipping the script on how teachers can create strength-based classrooms and ways you can talk to your child's teacher about helping them create strength-based classrooms that support our neurodiverse learners. So I hope you'll come next time. Until then, thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to seeing you in our Facebook group and on our Monday lives. And of course, as always, keep it quirky. Thank you for listening to Quirky Nexus. We are so glad you took the time to join us today. I know time is precious, and we are so glad you're here. I hope you got a lot out of this episode. Please don't forget to post your activity using hashtag NeuroNexus. That's NeuroNexus. And of course, all links are in the show notes. And I just really hope you enjoyed it. So if you did, please like and subscribe and share this with a friend. I think this is really good for families that are new to their child being diagnosed with ADHD. And I believe that the tips and tricks and resources I'll be sharing will be very helpful for all families, but especially new families. And finally, I am creating a workshop coming up to help families with ADHD finding and using a holistic, natural approach in support of a book chapter that I'm writing and articles and magazines that are coming out. But my workshop, I'm so excited about because I can work with you all one-on-one. If you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear from you. Thank you again. And remember, let's keep it quirky. See you next time.